Hi, everyone. We had a little delay, so those of you who came on early, I hope that you're able to pop back in again and watch us and watch the replay if not. So it's wonderful to be here again with you, Tim Wagner, and I are going to talk about more on the universal laws, more of the universal laws. And I just want to say it's great to have you here, Tim, to have this discussion. How are you today?
I love chatting. I love our fortnightly connections and our chats. Absolutely wonderful, Karen. And especially when we're talking about the whole universal laws and what people commonly know as the law of attraction. I'm a student in this, and I'm just here to absorb and learn. I've got all my notes, sort of 1.5 pages of notes that I made from last session. So if somebody's listening and they missed the previous one, catch that recording as we're going to continue this discussion, which is, it seems to be a very, very topical one. I ran a webinar last week, and one of the speakers on there is a law of attraction coach. She works with companies in helping companies open their minds to what else is possible instead of just looking at the normal paradigm of running a business. So it was fascinating to hear that corporations are even looking at the universal laws and law of attraction to benefit them. So this is a huge, huge topic, and I love these discussions.
Well, I want to thank you, Tim, and it is. It's good that people are waking up. You know, I've been working with this work, and this particular program of mine is called Working with the Law, and it was created by a very famous person in transformation, my master coach, Mary Morrissey, and Bob Proctor. And most of you will have heard of at least Bob Proctor because he featured in The Secret, and he's very well known for his work with achieving what it is you want through the laws. And so that's a program I run, and it's amazing. However, it seems like we say that people are now starting to become more interested and more aware that there are laws, and that is the 12th universal law. And the program I teach is understanding, believing, knowing, being open to the fact that there are universal laws to learn about, and that they do work in our lives, whether we know about them or not. They're going to be working. So
whether you know about it or not, they're working anyway. And it's interesting you mentioned The Secret. My first exposure into law of attraction was through the book The Secret, and then the movie, and applying, well, pretty much not a lot of it because I didn't really understand how. That was the whole key thing. It was, okay, so manifest, sit under a tree and send out these beautiful vibes of energy, and the Ferrari will pull up in your driveway. Well, not quite.
No.
So what are we missing? There's got to be something key missing in this. So that was a first journey, as with many, as with most people. But how do we now take this stuff and apply it? And that's been where I've been looking and saying, what do we do to apply it? So this is where your 12 laws that you're taking us through is about the actual application. What do we do on a day-by-day basis in order to change the paradigm of this indoctrinated belief system? You're in Australia. I'm in South Africa. I was educated in South Africa and the UK. I understand that the basis of education around the world is pretty much the same, right? So this stuff that we're sharing isn't taught. So where do you get it? You get it from environments like this, and from people like Karen Clark who've taken a step further than what I've done and actually studied in detail, qualifying themselves in order to be able to then share it. So I'm just going to hand the mic back over to you. I'm sitting here and I've got my pen, I've got my paper, and I'm ready to, what can I absorb and apply today that's going to manifest that wealth that's out there in the universe?
Yes, thank you, Tim. So I'll remind you that the laws are invisible, the invisible laws of the universe. They're They're as real as the laws of gravity and electricity and thermodynamics. Just because we can't see them or we may not be aware of them does not mean they are not always at work. And so these 12 laws, and as I said, the 12th law is, or the first law is actually understanding that there are laws in the universe that are causing our results in life that we are interacting with. And the other 11 laws are continually at work in our lives as well. So when we become aware of them, then we are able, and only then we are able to work in harmony with them to create the results we want. So let's look at, well, why do you want to know about them? Why study them? Why learn about them? All failures in life are due to taking sides with the finite around us. All success in life is due to taking sides with the law within us. So thus, working with the law may be considered the same as taking the law into our minds and lives as a silent partner. And we are then conscious of the source and creator of all power, all the power within us. And we realize and receive that the many benefits that surround us. So simply put, when we understand the laws of the universe, what they are, how they work, and how to apply them, life actually gets easier, flows, and we become more successful. So we've already done the law of thinking, and we've touched on, I think, and quickly did a bit on the law of supply. So we're thinking we're going to work through them in the order that I present them. And so the next law, which you mentioned kind of in the beginning, Tim, is the law of attraction. And so it's quite a good law for us to talk about today. When we attract what we focus on, what we are interested in, and what we pay attention to. And the law of attraction is activated by both a burning desire coupled with a grateful expectation. Both frequencies have to be there to activate the law of attraction. And most people don't know this. Most people don't learn this. So let's go into it in a little bit deeper and then see if you've got any questions or anyone has any questions. Just give me a second.
Definitely. The whole thing about frequencies, and would that be similar to energy?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. And this is when I read Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Yes.
I found out many, many years later that one of the words which had been redacted a lot from the book was energy, because that is seen as the big secret that them up there, whoever they may be, don't want us to know. And they don't want us to know this because it is an integral part of the success of all of these laws in our lives and our individual success. Would that be right? Is that sort of something big? You know, because it was for years, it was something which I never understood, was the energy and frequencies, because it just wasn't part of, it wasn't detailed in The Secret, and it wasn't detailed in one of the biggest books written in 1936 by Napoleon Hill. Although it's in there, it's not specified in detail. Why?
Well, I guess you can only put so much in a book. So he put what he decided was what he wanted in that book, and he probably has consequently written or spoken or, done papers about it. The thing about frequency and energy, as you say, it is not taught. And yet now with neuroscience in particular, it is proven, they have proven that every thought and emotion that a human has is at a measurable frequency. Okay, so depending on the thought, the type of thought and the type of emotional feeling that it is will depend on the frequency, and they measure it in hertz. And so thoughts of things like fear, anxiety, helplessness, hopelessness, all those kind of negative thoughts and emotions that come from that are considered to be at a low frequency, under, say, 250 hertz. And the things like gratitude, joy, love, happiness are over 500. Now, there are levels above 500 up to about 700, and we're not going to go into that today in a lot of detail, but this is proven neuroscience now, that we know that when our brain is operating like this with thoughts that cause those, because our thoughts cause our feelings, okay? There's a formula called the formula of cause and effect. I mentioned it, I think, last week, and that is this, that our thoughts cause our feelings and emotions, which cause the actions we take, which cause our results. And so our thoughts cause our feelings and emotions. And it's proven science, as I say, they've done the measuring of the brain patterns and the brain frequencies, and they know now that when we're thinking about things that inspire us, motivate us, things we're happy about, and you can do this. You can recall a situation where you was the happiest time of your life and imagine that you're there again, and you can change the frequency that your body, your whole body is operating at by doing that. So this is why we say to people, and this is why you hear gratitude is such a good thing. When you wake up, think of what you're grateful for, things like that, because as soon as you start to think about what you're grateful for, you can't be in two frequencies at once. It's like you can't tune a television or a radio to two frequencies at once. You're in one or the other, right? And so if you're in a good frequency, a high frequency, you attract the frequency, you attract what's coming in at the same frequency. So there are many ways of increasing the frequency that you're operating at, which means you can then attract the things you would love in your life, right? The vision of the life you would love, the goals of things that will bring you wealth and health and happiness. And that's what it's all about. That's what all this is all about. It's about learning how it works and then using it to make it work for you and design the life you would love to live and bring it to you, because that's what it does. So you asked a question about is frequency important? Yes, because everything is created twice in this world. Yeah. Everything in this physical world is created twice, including every single result in our life. Every result. Now, if some people find this hard to take when I say everything that's happened in your life, you have created with a thought, okay? And I would say, well, maybe if there was a typhoon or a cyclone or something like that, you didn't create that. However, what you do create is your response to that. And as a result of that, you create your experience of that with your thoughts. So you could respond to something that is outside of you, that happens with regard to nature or something other people do. And sometimes you will have attracted it. Something that other people do, you will have attracted it by what you're thinking. But with things like cyclones or something like that, maybe you didn't. Maybe you didn't attract it. Maybe a whole lot of people didn't think together about bad weather and cyclones. However, your experience of it and where it left you is directly related to your response and how you respond to things. So the law of attraction, most people don't know, as I said, that the key concepts of the law of attraction is that the law of attraction is a secondary law. And the law it is secondary to is the law of vibration.
There we go.
Now, the mind is a magnet, and it attracts whatever corresponds to its predominant mental state. So desire and expectation are the two essential elements of the law of attraction. You have to really desire something, have a burning desire for it, not just a ho-hum kind of, oh, maybe I'd like to do that one day. Because if you have those kind of thoughts, those kind of bucket list on your list, oh, that's on my bucket list. You know what? It'll never happen. Mm-hmm. It's not until you change that, oh, that's on my bucket list, to a burning desire and decision and commitment that you really want that and you're going to do it, that will change. That's why we say it's a desire. And then the other thing that is paramount for it to happen is an expectation that it will happen, a grateful expectation. These are the two elements, desire and expectation, to bring the law of attraction into play. A well-defined mental picture held with calm, confident conviction. I want this, okay? I'm doing this. I've decided. Activates the law of attraction. And then action, taking action, like that formula I said to you, the last thing, second to last thing, that causes the actions you take. The thoughts cause your feelings and emotions, which cause the actions that you take. So action provides a channel for the law of attraction to express itself. So the law of attraction is just as definite and accurate as the law of gravity. And that's a quote by Raymond Hollywell. Going back to your question, it's all about frequency. Like I said, the law of attraction is secondary to the law of vibration. And Einstein's famous, I love this quote, I quote it all the time, said this: everything is energy. He's talking about frequency here. Everything is energy. That's all there is. This is Einstein all that time ago. Everything is energy. That is all there is. Match the frequency of the reality you want, or the frequency of your desired reality, and it cannot help but be yours. It cannot help. Match it. It cannot help but be yours. This is not philosophy. It is physics. And today we call this quantum physics. We've taken that quote and now we know this is quantum physics. That's why I teach it. It's not about learning about science. It's not about learning about quantum physics. It's actually about learning to apply this in your life. Okay? So the key is to hold a frequency, like I said, to remain in a frequency that aligns with what we want to create in our lives. And as we hold the frequency, our lives begin to reflect that in our reality. It's like a remote control, like I said, for your television screen. In order to change the picture on the screen, what we're watching, what we are experiencing, we've got to tune to a different channel. In order to change what we see on the television, we've got to change the frequency. You can't watch the Discovery Channel or the Cooking Channel when you tuned into constantly negative news.
Yeah.
Simple. This stuff is, by the way, it's not difficult. It's very simple. So we set the frequency by what we focus our attention on. Hey, did you know that you set your frequency of what you're operating at by what you focus your attention on and what we're interested in? See, I said that at the beginning.
Yes.
Not just a casual interest, though, but a burning desire with a grateful expectation. And if we want to know what we have been paying our attention to, guess what you do? All you have to do is look at your results.
Amazing. There's a couple of things that you said that you spoke about here. I want to jump back in if you don't mind. When you spoke about quantum physics and you quoted Einstein, there's been so many great world recognized physics experts, Einstein, then Tesla as well. multiple of people who have said very similar things around that it's scientifically proven fact. That sort of moves it out of the woo-woo realm of it's just sort of in your head and blah, 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 and it's only the hippies that... When you talk about names like that, who are hugely respected people who have invented and created so many things that we use on a day-to-day basis, and all of these scientists for hundreds of years have been saying this all along, but we didn't understand it. So if you're listening to this, or even if you're looking at chatting to corporates about it, you're saying this is scientific fact. There's evidence, physical hard evidence that proves this. Einstein knows it, Tesla's known it. There's a number of others that I don't remember their names now, who have known it. You're taking it into a different sphere of understanding for people going, okay, this is not just for the people who are out there, and quantum physics is something which you find on Back to the Future 2. There's way more to this, and it's time to get serious. If you want to start living, I've said for many years, I want to live my life by design, not by default, which means intent, with intentional focus. Then you're the one who's in control. So that's sort of, I love when you're talking about the scientist. There's another name, Joe Dispenza, who also talks about
Dr.
side of it, that you have the control of it here. And and then when you have a look at just your feeling state, and you're talking about you're attracting how you're feeling. So if you're in that low frequency where you mentioned, you're talking about below, I think 250 hertz, it's that negative frequency, that's what you attract. And would that be where the saying, bad things attract bad things?
Yes.
Bad things, you get three things three in a row are going to come your way. When one bad thing happens, another's going to happen, and you're saying, well, yeah, it's scientifically proven, because you're just going to create the next thing. If you don't want to create that next thing and the next thing, change your vibration level.
Change your thinking. That's how you do it. Change your thinking. Because if a couple of bad things happen, what do? If you're a believer in those kind of old wives' tales, or whatever you call it, you will say to yourself, oh, things come in three. So what's going to happen next? What's the bad thing that will happen next? Do you know how powerful it is to ask a question of the universe? It's so flippin' powerful that it will always answer you. See, the thing is, the universe doesn't judge. It doesn't say, oh, no, I'm not going to give you that because that's a bad thing. It says, this is what you asked for. Here it is. The universe makes no judgment. It makes no criticism. It simply gives us back what we're putting out there. And so that's why it's so powerful to ask more powerful questions. You will get more powerful answers. And, I was working with the client just Tuesday. We went through the whole session, which is on some of the stuff, right? It's on designing your life that you love, right? And we're just at the beginning of the program. It's called my Dream Builder program. And at the end of the first session, she said to me, I said, any feedback, any questions? And she said, oh, wow, there's a lot to take in. There's a lot to do, a lot to take in. And I just looked at her and I said, that's a paradigm. That's your paradigm kicking in, saying to you, that's a lot. How am I going to do that? So much to learn. There's so much to take in.
This is hard work.
Which is what happened. Exactly. Which is the programming. That's how we're programmed to react. There's a part of us. There's two parts of us that are always in competition. One is the part of us that in the universal pull for us to become more. You know, everything is a spiral in the universe. Our very DNA is a spiral, and we're always being pulled to become more, do more, to reach our capacity and reach our potential. And then there's this part of us, the oldest part of our brain, that is there to keep us just surviving, to keep our hearts beating and us breathing. That's its job. That part of our brain, that's its job. And as soon as we want to step out and do something that's perceived by that part as a risk, it pulls us back.
Yes.
It pulls us back. And that's why we have things like what we call paradigms. That's why we have these thoughts that come up that say, oh, you don't really want to do that, do you? That's going to be difficult. That's going to be time consuming. People will laugh at you, or whatever those thoughts are. This is human stuff. This is how we default all the time.
So call this the ego. Ego wants to protect you, to keep you safe and in this little box and hold you back, because that's that ego. But in the coaching that I do, it's about, if you want to create that better life, that new version, you've got to break outside of that ego. And it means going outside of your comfort zone to the new things. And only then do you create true transformational change.
That's right. And, you know, talking about transformation, there is an art and science of transformation.
Ooh,
so the art is creating the picture. Okay, creating the vision. And we think in pictures. So we think about what we want in specific detail. That's the art. And then the science is the energy that we've been talking about. Okay, science is the neuroscience. And you're so right, Dr. Joe Dispenza. We teach a lot the same. And he is a neuroscientist, and he has a lot of those things, proven a lot of those things, that we would proven that our thoughts are a frequency. And, you know, just talking about Einstein, I'm going to throw this into the pot, which is completely mixing everything up, because, as you say, he was a very, very respected, highly respected, very intelligent man. And he did work on a science that is different to the Newtonian laws and the Newtonian science. And yet, in a way, they're not really in conflict. Quantum physics is the newest science man has ever created. And the Newtonian science, quantum physics, basically is corroborated by Newtonian science and then takes it to the next level. So, you know, I just want to talk about when Einstein worked, this is a mind blower, this one. When Einstein worked on the theory of relativity, you will have heard that. You might have learned it when you were in school. Einstein was famous for his theory of relativity. And what he said is, perception is our position in space, time, and is tied to the direction we are moving. Now, I want to talk about this because of once again, our programming, our status quo thinking, our belief system, and that perception is simply your belief. Okay, your belief doesn't necessarily match with mine. And actually, our perception of a position or a situation is based on our view of the world. Everyone has a view and filters to create that view. And the reason why my perception may be different than yours is because my filters will be different. And our filters are made up of our past, our experiences, our beliefs given to us by other people, our upbringing, all sorts of things cause our filters. People we associate with, people around us, our family, all sorts of things create our filters. And we filter everything, because if we didn't, we would have so much information coming to us that our brain actually, nowadays especially, we're given so much information that our brain cannot cope with it. Okay, there's so many bits of information flying at us that our brain cannot cope with it. And so we filter out 2/3 of it at least.
Mm.
So perception, though, which is what ends up after we've filtered, our perception is our position in space, time, and is tied to the direction we are moving. So this is Einstein. Here's the thing. We are on a planet that is hurtling around the sun, moving at 1,000 miles an hour. You all know this, right? Yet on a still day, we can all go outside and look up into the sky, and we have a sense that we are not moving at all.
Mm.
Because this skews, and this then skews our perception. So what the point of this is that everything is relative. Everything is relative in your life.
Mm.
If you're earning $50,000 a year and you've got to provide for your family and pay for everything out of it, to buy a pair of shoes for $300 for your child is probably a huge cost. Would that be right?
Mm.
Whereas if you're earning $2 million a year, you might well be happy to pay 5 times that. You might be happy to pay $15,000 for a pair of designer shoes. See the difference? So when Einstein worked on his theory of relativity, he clearly described that perception is our position in space. And this is the mind-blowing part, now that you know the background, it is literally possible for two people to be observing an event and it appears in my past and in your future, and for both of us to be correct.
Ooh. Say that again.
Because
you can look at the same thing. Two people can be looking at the same thing at the same time. And it can be each person's
observing
past.
an event, and it appears to be in my past and in your future, and for us both to be correct, depending on where we are in the world. Okay. And why does that matter to you or me today? Because
Yes.
I can use that concept to create an open space in my mind in regards to that perception or way that another person sees reality. So it's so important to open our minds, to change our beliefs. They're simply beliefs, they're not truth. And reality as I see it, and know my reality is different to others, but we could both often be correct.
So when I remember a story from many years ago of just trying to explain and understand the difference in perceptions from two people. If you have two people and they're standing on a cliff looking out to the beautiful ocean, they can see to the horizon at the end, there's blue sky, there's this beautiful ocean, it's just expanse in front of them. And they're standing there, there's a beautiful sea breeze, and the one standing there in a state of panic because they just see this drop and danger below. They see a dark, murky, deep water where there's sharks and dangerous things and rocks, and they just sit there and they're standing there in a state of fear and panic. And the other person standing there in awe and wonder to the magnitude and the beauty of nature, and the seagulls flying down, and the seal that's just playing with a fish in the water, and just the absolute magnitude of how glorious nature is. And they're standing right there looking at exactly the same thing, at exactly the same time, but their filters have changed their perception and their feeling state of what they're actually seeing. Both are right in their own.
That's right, in their own world, in their own view of the world. Yeah. And in fact, over 100 years ago, there's a man by the name of Orville Wright who introduced us to a brand new kingdom of travel and said, isn't it astounding that these secrets have been preserved for all these years just so that we can discover them? And then in 1959, Earl Nightingale, a broadcaster from, you've heard of it, Earl Nightingale, right? A broadcaster, we called him at that time, from Chicago, and the partner of the Loyal Covenant, who started the industry of personal growth through recorded messages, even before the internet or anything was around, released the strangest secret record. He said It was strange that it was a secret. The strangest secret was, and guess what he said? We become what we think about.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
And he said it was strange that it was a secret. And here's the thing, you asked this question at the beginning. He said it's strange that it was a secret because every great leader who has ever lived has been in complete and unanimous agreement that we do become what we think about. Every leader has been in unanimous agreement that we do become what we think about. They have disagreed on virtually everything else except for this one thing. So to get back to what we were talking about with the laws, and to remind you, the mind is a magnet. The mind is a magnet and it attracts whatever corresponds to its ruling state. Whatever we image in our mind, whatever we expect or think about will tend to bring into our lives the things and conditions that we are in harmony with. So for this reason, everyone, and this is a caution now to all of you, listen up. Everyone should be doubly careful about how and what she or he thinks. Our predominant mental attitude is the primary cause of most everything that comes into our lives. And the sooner we realize this truth, the sooner we shall begin to improve our lives and progress.
So that would possibly be a good starting point, is for everybody to ask themselves the deep question, what is my prominent mental thought? What am I predominantly thinking about?
And what is my predominant mental attitude? And what am I expecting to experience each and every day? So the two essential elements of the law of attraction, once again, are desire. What do I want? What am I focusing my attention on? Am I focusing it on the fact that I'm not making enough money to pay my bills this month? Or am I focusing it on how can I create an extra $10,000 excess every month? And asking for ideas and thinking about ideas and looking for ways to do that. What we do instead of looking for ways to do that, we look at and focus on all the bad things about not making enough, don't we? So desire for what we want and expectation are the two essential elements, as I said, of the law of attraction. Desire connects you to the thing desired, and expectation draws it into your life.
Stunning.
The first phase of desire embraces a positive process of attraction. That is, when an individual earnestly desires a thing, he sets up a line of force that connects him or her with the invisible side of the good desired.
So for anybody feeling overwhelmed, sorry, Karen, I'm just thinking back.
No, please go ahead.
I'm just thinking back to the client you spoke about where they said, wow, there's just so much. That was that ego, the indoctrination stuff. So if anybody just sort of saying, okay, but where do I start with this? Because there's a lot. There is. Would a starting point be focusing on that desire, focusing on the expectation, and asking the right questions? Just starting there.
What I agree, the questions are, what would I love in my life? Choose you go into the 4 domains where we create results anyway. Our health and wellness, our relationships and loved ones, so all relationships, our business, career or vocation, and our time and money freedom. Those are the 4 areas that we're creating our results anyway, by default or by design. And go to each one of them and ask yourself, what would I love if I didn't think I couldn't do it? What would I love if I didn't think it was impossible? What would I love in my life in this area if I didn't think that there were some outside circumstances or conditions that I hadn't fulfilled or that weren't fulfilled in order for me to achieve it? Put all that to one side and just use your imagination. Your imagination is a gift, and it's one of the things, these 6 mental faculties that we were given at birth were given to us to help us work with these laws, work with the universe. And use your imagination and imagine what your life would be like in specific detail. You know, where would you live if you could live anywhere in the world? What would you be doing with your time if you had a whole lot of spare time and only had to work 20 or 30 or 15 hours a week? How many hours a week would you want to work? You know, who would you be with? Who would you be working with? Get really specific. What would you be doing? What would those people you're serving be saying about you? How would you feel when they say that? This is how specific we get. Because the more specific you get, the more the universe can give us. So you start with that imagination and creating that vision of what you would love. And you can ask the question, what would I love? And you can ask 2 more questions to get this clarity, the specificity. If you're not sure, some people just cannot answer that question, what would I love? So the next 2 questions to look at is, what do I long for? What do I have a yearning for that I haven't yet achieved or got in my life? And the other one is, or what do I want less of in my life? What do what would I love to get out, to remove from my life? And when you ask those questions, what do I want less of? What do I want more of in these 4 areas? Then you can start to become specific about it. And that vision, which is, and you write it out. It's, I am now, and you put in the 2 words that bring your frequency right up. I'm now so happy and grateful.
That's it.
I'm so happy and grateful now that I am doing. You put everything in the present, and everything is written in positive. So you don't say, I don't have any debt. You say, I'm now
have abundance. I now receive.
I'm now earning extra. I'm now earning more than $10,000 a month above my basic costs, or in excess to my living costs. Right? I'm saving, $300 a week, or whatever it is that would be for you an amazing achievement. And we say to people, think big. Don't let the not knowing how stop you from thinking and putting down what you would love if you could do it. Because there is a yearning there. What do I yearn for? What do I want more of? What do I long for? And what do I want less of? So that's how you create the desire, the burning desire, right? That's how you create that part of it. And then the expectation is the pull that actually brings that desire into life. So it's no use just to desire. Like you said, when people said, oh, the law of attraction or the law of manifestation, I can just think I want something and it'll show up. No, there's no use to just do that, to just want it. Unless you expect to get it, either in part or full. Desire without expectation is idle wishing or dreaming. So there is, that idle wishing or dreaming, and people say things like that, oh, you're just a dreamer. And when you start to dream about what you want, those kind of comments and thoughts are just going to quash what it is that causes the stuff to happen. But you must know how to take it right through to fruition. You simply waste much valuable mental energy in doing just a desire without expectation or idle wishing or dreaming. So desire will put you in touch with that inner world of causes and connect you by the invisible means with the substance of the thing desired. And then continuous expectation is necessary to bring it into reality in your life, much like the pull of the gravitation in the physical realm. Expectation is a drawing force of the mind which acts in the invisible realm. Over to you, Tim.
So what would you say to, I've got a friend and they're on a very different path to myself. I am a student of learning, applying law of attraction, the 12 laws, imagination, meditation, mindfulness, the focus, my resonance, my energy level. But my friend operates in a fear base because they don't want to dream bigger. Because of being let down. They've had at some point in their life, maybe they've had huge loss, and they are saying, I would rather not dream about a life I could have. I'd rather say, I'm just happy with this little comfortable life that I've got. What do you say to somebody? Is there something you can say to them, or do you just sort of let them be in their own little bubble? How do you get?
Good question. So a person does have to want to learn about this, does have to want to grow their awareness, does have to want to make changes for it to happen. It's not going to happen. Even no matter how good a coach I am or you are, you can't make it happen for that person until they get to the point where they want it to happen for themselves. Now, here's the thing. They're living in paradigm at the moment. They're living in their paradigm, okay? And this is human stuff, like you say. Most people are there, Tim, not just your friend. Most people live like that. Most of us live in a place where we don't want to take risks. We don't want to move out of our comfort zone. We believe the beliefs and the sayings and the things that stop us from growing and moving towards something more. And there's only two things that change a paradigm, okay? Most of us wait for the worst thing, which is when a trauma, a situation of loss, a point that we get to where which is so bad that we say, that causes us to say, I don't want to live like this anymore. Something has to change, okay? And, it could be a marriage breakup. It could be the loss of someone's business. It could be, completely going under, going into bankruptcy. It could be the diagnosis, because, I truly believe that how we operate in our lives, the attitude that we take about everything does affect our health as well. So it could be that. And unfortunately, society and Western society particularly, and with the goings on of what's happened in the last 2 to 3 years, it's unhealthy for us as humans to be living the way that we live. And it's considered the norm. So unless you have this paradigm, and most people wait, like I say, and then say, well, I'm going to change something. And then, you could say, well, here's an idea or something you might want to learn about that will help you to move in a different direction. And the other way to change a paradigm is coaching, is regular, time-space, repetitive, breaking down paradigms, breaking down the blocks that cause us, breaking down the fears and the unseen things that stop us. Because, and let's face it, most of the time it never happens. But breaking down all of those things and negative emotions, finding the root causes for why we're not brave enough to take that next step or move forward. Coaching. That's the only other way. And if someone's not ready for it, you know the saying, and I do believe this one, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. It's not the other way around.
So true. You've got to be ready for it. Yes. When
so you can't do anything for your friend. You can't. All you can do is lead by example.
There we go. That was, yes, I was going to say that in the end, it is a matter of, I'm going to do this. And then perhaps down the line, you're saying, wow, look at how you're living now, how much happy you are, how much joyful, how much time you've got, how much travel. How do I get some of that? It's a matter of doing it yourself. Yeah. And then allowing them to follow. There's something came to mind when you were talking about people taking action when they are at their lowest point. When I first started to put together my coaching program modalities, I was trying to inspire people to action out of inspiration. So when somebody they're not living their best lives, but they're comfortable, they're happy, I was trying to inspire them to be better. And it almost killed me because they didn't do anything. There was no need. I wanted to try and help people to avoid going where I had gone, which was deep down, before making a radical life change and realizing I'm in control of this. I thought, right, how can I help other fathers, other business people, 40 to 50, 55-year-old, from avoiding going down there and saying to them, but you don't have to actually get there. This is my story. This is what I've done to get now where I'm going. But they didn't come to me. As soon as I changed the story and realized, well, people only take action out of desperation. When you're desperate. At that point, I came across a saying, and I hope I don't destroy it, that the universe, when you're at your deepest, lowest, you've got that loss, that business crash, that health loss, the loss of the family, the divorce, that low point that you are now broken. The universe then says, now you're ready, because now you're not carrying all of that old baggage, that old crap, that stuff which does not serve you. I couldn't give you what you're asking from that level you're at, because you cannot move forward and become the person you'd like to be with the knowledge and information that got you to where you are in the first place. I need a clean slate. Now we can grow. And I listen to this and I think, that's my story. I had to go to the bottom in order to have a clean slate, to go, okay, that hasn't worked. What is change the paradigm? And that's when I became a lot more open, receptive, and understanding to the lessons that you're teaching right now. So if somebody's sitting in a position of going, and this is what I tell my clients now, they're saying, I've lost everything. I go, well, you haven't lost everything. It may feel like you've lost everything, but you are at a low point. Yes, great. Now all there is only one way. You can carry on doing what you've done and gotten what you've got, or you can learn to change and realize and create something different. But it will require a change in paradigm and thinking. And this is exactly what we're speaking about here. Expectation, desire, but a continuous expectation for what it is that you're looking for. It's that continuous application of it, but not living in the state of fear that, oops, for 10 minutes I thought badly. Now I've lost everything that I was trying to create. Then you're going to go back to the indoctrinated state of fear, right?
Yeah. And people might say, oh, well, I tried that and it didn't work. But well, you made it, you remembered what I said, continuous. One way to live in expectation, you want to live in it continuously, okay, is through gratitude. And Wallace Wattles speaks of this as grateful expectations, or I think I mentioned it, or I want to re-mention it again, is that you can be grateful for things in your life that you already have. And it's a very good practice to do every day, is to think of, 10, 15, 20 things, or even just 3 that you are grateful for. But the most powerful form of gratitude is to be grateful for what has not yet happened in your life, has not yet come into your life that you would love. And we call that grateful expectation. Be as grateful now for the thing you desire as you expect to be when it actually has taken form in your life. Because here's the thing, what we desire is already ours. What we desire is already ours, and what we think up is already in existence in the quantum realm. Okay, as soon as we think something up in our head, in our mind, we have a picture of it, it's already in existence in the quantum realm. It's just not yet in this physical world, in the physical form. So our burning desire and our grateful expectation puts us in the frequency that brings it into this physical world in physical form. Beautiful.
Stunning, stunning, stunning. Right.
So the first thing to do, create a clear mental picture. Our mind thinks in pictures.
Yeah.
We think in pictures as humans. The picture generates a feeling which is held at a certain frequency or vibration. Form a clear, well-defined mental picture of what you would love in your life. And then build a burning desire under that image. Do not specify its particular form or how it would come to you, but simply desire firmly and gently the greatest amount of good in that direction. And then hold this mental image with calm, confident conviction. The calmer and more peaceful you are, the better the results. The main thing is to hold the thought and then nourish the thought with a calm, confident conviction that what you seek will come. And as you persist in this state, the desired good will tend to gravitate like magic towards you. Magic is in the metaphysical world.
Amazing. Beautiful. I can't think of anything else to think about right now, but this.
And then the action brings it home.
Yeah.
The action brings it home. The addition of action will finish the process with the happiest results. So as I said before, action provides a channel for the law of attraction to express. And Wallace Wattles in The Science of Getting Rich, most of you have heard this book, writes, by thought, the thing you want is brought to you. By action, you receive it. So you hit the nail on the head before. Ask yourself, what can I do? What's one step I can take in the direction of this dream or vision I have? What's one step I can take? And then listen. Listen to your intuition for inspired action to take. Your intuition will tell you it is the voice for truth. And it's only ever as loud as our willingness to listen.
Stunning.
So on that note, we're over time.
I think we're on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot there. It's brilliant, from starting to talking about The Secret, which is where a lot of people first came across or started to see that there's another way of thinking and having the life that they want, right down to paradigms and calm, confident conviction of holding your thoughts, staying in that resonance, in that frequency, and taking that inspired action. In the end, if you want to win $1 million or $10 billion from the lottery, and that's what you're focusing on and you're feeling it, if you don't go out there and buy the lottery ticket, it ain't coming your way.
That's true. You've got to be, you're right.
You can do something.
You've got to be playing on the field. No point being in side stands and watching the game.
Right.
You got to be in the game.
So it still requires you to do more than sit under the tree and manifest. There's some action. That is not work. This is joy-filled fun. And
yeah,
it is.
this is magic.
Yeah, it
Magic.
is. Magic.
So Josh,
This is wonderful. Thank you, Karen. This is good. It's come to me at the right time.
oh, fabulous. Joshua Retty is on here, and he says, great to see you here. Quantum entanglements and physics, he's written. So hi, Joshua. Great to have you here with us too. For everyone else who watches, who's here and hasn't said anything, thank you so much for coming on and listening to what we have to gift to you. These are gifts. This information is a gift. And as Tim said, not everyone's ready. Not everyone's ready. Not everyone's awake enough, aware enough to be interested in this work and this information, in learning about things outside of our status quo, programmed, patterned universe, universal teaching, society's teachings. So if you're ready, absorb it, bring it all in. And if you're not, that's okay too. Everyone becomes ready in their own time.
That's it. You've got to be ready to be ready. And when you're ready to be ready, you're ready. And there we go.
So on that note, Tim, I'm just wondering what the next 1, 2. So I'm actually going to be away in New Zealand in 2 weeks. So we're not. I would request that we don't do it in 2 weeks. And in fact, I'll be away for another 2 weeks as well. So
we're going to reconvene come mid-January, probably mid towards end of January. Keep a tab on the promotions in the Telegram and keep your Tuesdays open. We'll be back with more.
And so on that note, wish everybody who watches it, who's on here, who watches the replay, a wonderful, wonderful end of 2023, a wonderful Christmas and celebrations, and hope that you're all going to be with your loved ones, and a fabulous start to the new year, 2024.
And then we can all chat about what we've manifested over the Christmas period. Love it.
And if anyone would like help, both Tim and I are coaches. Reach out to us. If you want help with any of this work, reach out to whoever you resonate with, and we can help you. We can make some suggestions or talk about any particular challenges or topics that you would like to talk about. We're both on LinkedIn, as you know.
Perfect. Great stuff. Karen, as always, hugely blessed and pleasure. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom and knowledge and encouragement. Let's take it individually and go for it from here. Ciao for now.
Bye. Thank you, Tim. Bye, everyone.